Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
What's the best band if you were just chilling at a party that just playing in the background? Not dancing. Not like, you just vibes and chilling. But with a little bit of like, oh, we can jump in and sing this one.
Tame Impala. For sure.
Really?
Yeah.
You think people are singing Tame Impala?
Well, they're vibing for sure.
Well, yeah, Tame Impala, super vibes.
Especially if there's some recreational things.
I was just saying, my thought was the Beastie Boys, because,
Yeah, but they can get a little too hyped sometimes.
They do get, well, that's where, like, the hype moments of the part. Like, you're never going to get up and, like, dance to it.
One song will come on.
Like, it's a goofy dance, and, where you're like
if Brass Monkey comes up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What does that have to do with movies?
I don't know. It's just Shadrach came on in the car on the way in. And, I don't know if you've noticed, I've dressed up.
You dressed up today.
For the news.
Interesting. I don't know why you would do that, but regardless, we're back. The show with no name continues on, whether you want it to or not. Last episode, a lot of people didn't like that we said Acolytes enough to watch.
Well, you said that. I said it was good.
Yeah.
More I think of it, the further away we're from it, still great.
Yeah. Well, the haters are gonna hate.
Yeah.
And let them hate. That's okay.
I thought we can get into it more later because there's a lot of movie news, but a lot of news to talk about. I thought we were going to get a second season announcement.
Yeah, it is interesting that we haven't.
Yeah.
But it also...
Well, they did a whole panel with Manny about how rad his character is.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's it, though.
Regardless, they know they got to keep his character.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you got to keep that character. Yeah. All right, let's get into... the micro movie reviews. I forgot what we were doing. Well, let's work backwards.
Okay.
Let's crescendo into Deadpool.
Okay.
Let's start with Love Lies Bleeding, which is just recently on streaming.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
It's on Max, right?
It's on a platform that people can purchase to stream on.
Yep.
5 words or fewer or less, however you want to grammatically say it. So I'm going to say... hot but sad. You could say horny but sad too, but hot but sad I think is better.
I haven't seen it, but I heard the ending gets pretty crazy.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy.
You say hot but sad.
A little crazy.
A little crazy, yeah.
All right, then let's go to, we're probably the last people to talk about this, Twisters.
Hey, we both really enjoy Twisters.
Yes.
In the Arkansas representation.
We could say more than 5 words, but we're not going
to. This is what I thought of yesterday, and I was like, I gotta remember. Yeah. We are so back, ma'am.
We should just brought a cowboy hat for that.
We should we start wearing cowboy hats? Not just in here, but like in the office.
I'm an anti-hat kind of guy, so
I'm not big on hats either.
One, I know that it can lead to male baldness happening quicker.
Thank you.
So
yes, of course.
But also, I think I just look like a goof.
Yeah, I do too. It's our hair.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, spin me right round, baby.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a great one.
All right, now let's go to M. Night Shyamalan's Trap.
Okay.
Which we've both seen.
I'm not gonna lie, I put so much into the Twisters one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Josh. I'm gonna go Josh Hartnett's back, baby, doing back-to-back babies.
Yeah. What about Hartnett and Shyamalan? Mm-hmm. Both devilish.
A little devilish, yeah. It's fun. It's like
it's a lot of fun.
It's like a Hitman movie if he was a little goofy.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Is the Butcher Brad and is a little stinker. He's a little stinker.
Yeah. He's a little stinker. For sure.
It'll be so much fun to like look at our top 10 of the year this year because it's been such a weird year.
Yeah.
That again, I don't know what the rest of the year holds, but right now you're looking at like there's a world where like Trap's on like near the bottom of my list, but like I mean,
it's in the middle. Yeah,
yeah, it's
could be in the middle.
I know. I'm hoping it kind of stays there.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you also got Sing Sing and a bunch of other stuff coming out.
Yeah, and what happens is like they're like surprised we have this really great movie we've dropped.
Yeah. Speaking of a surprise good movie, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
What can you say about this movie that already hasn't been said?
Well, yeah, it's a movie that the internet almost immediately spoiled.
Literally, the moment I walked out of the theater and looked at Twitter, it was like everything.
It's so crazy that Disney is like slacking a little bit on their like flagging of.
I think they want to embrace it because the whole thing was like superhero fatigue, so they're letting people like go crazy.
Yeah, but do you know how many like rough cell phone videos I've seen of the Tron trailer, the Thunderbolts trailer, all the scenes from Wolverine and Deadpool? And now they're just like, hey, here are pictures, HD pictures of it all, which is wild. They knew, hey, we've made enough money.
Yeah.
So if I had to put it in 5 words,
I got it.
Okay.
Always skating uphill, comma, baby.
It's a lot of good ones. For me, so long, farewell. Period. Is it? Question mark. Does punctuation count as?
That's a good description of the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like it's a swan song to 20th Century Fox.
It's a swan song that like kind of all of a sudden there's like maybe one clip or like something in the background and like, oh well, actually there was a mattress that they landed on, like a inflatables, and they're like, hey, don't worry, they're not really
they're not dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they aren't, but
they're not. But it's like, again, there's all this talk of spoilers. There's all this talk of like, wow, are we getting a Gambit movie? And I'm not gonna lie, I will not be watching 2 hours of Channing Tatum.
No, he could show up in the Avengers movies.
But the whole point is that it's a joke. The whole thing of him showing up is a huge joke.
Right, but his choreography in that,
it's good, so great.
Great.
I cannot listen to Channing Tatum do a bad Cajun accent.
You know what they should? You know what they should do is they should kill him in one of the Avengers movies because everyone loves him. Easy person to kill off because he's only just a temporary character.
And don't even let him speak.
No.
He's
right. He's about to say right as he goes, he's woo, boom, dead. Dude, Dr. Doom's
he just like stabbed, just like.
All right, let's get to the movie newsies.
Movie newsies.
All right, the obvious thing that we're going to talk about first, because it happened this weekend, Borderlands, biggest bomb of the year.
Yeah, when I say Borderlands, more like border crashes the plane. There was
it was a lot of words. Yeah. But anyways, somehow did worse than Captain Marvel sequel. 9 million, less than 9 million over a 3-day period, which is insane because this is a big budgeted, lots of stars in it.
Adaptation.
But also, I think the studios knew because the marketing was like, we're going to put it out there. Like, I remember from Super Bowl until now.
I feel like I barely saw any marketing.
But I know, it's like, but you got like a bunch of commercials.
Yeah.
But then when the press came around, all we got was Jamie Lee Curtis saying that Marvel's movie's bad. Yeah. As if that's a brand new revelation.
Yeah, there's the young actress. She's in everything.
Greenblatt or whatever.
And it's like she's not out talking about it. I think she showed up to the premiere.
Kevin Hart's already moving on to his next project.
Jack Black, probably for other reasons why he's not on the trail.
Yeah.
But like, do we really think Cate Blanchett was going to show up and be like, yeah, I'll promote this movie?
Hey, she got a good paycheck. That's all.
She did. It's just bad. And I didn't see it. And I'm like...
no, because I think it's an affront to the video game. Yeah. And I've played all the video games.
And I just feel like there's no audience for this. Like, we have a guy who works here. His son just graduated high school.
Yeah.
Said he saw it. Said, awful.
Yeah.
Like an 18-year-old's like... Nothing
trash,
redeemable here. Like, it didn't.
And it's also a game that was rated mature.
Yeah.
And they turned this into a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
But apparently they shot it originally as rated R.
Yeah.
And then the reshoots were PG-13.
Do you think that they were like, maybe we could trick someone into thinking this is like a Jumanji movie.
Maybe that's probably why they got Kevin Hart and
Where's
Jack
the
Black.
Rock at? Oh, he's not in this one.
Eli Roth. You know what? I don't. This is not really a controversial opinion. I don't think he makes good movies. I'm sure the Thanksgiving movie was fun.
Thanksgiving movie was fun. Just not know how people talk. It just is. You know what? Can we one compliment?
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about the video games. Guy in the Mask looks pretty sick.
He's not even a main character.
I know, but like he's all over the front of the video games. But it's like so I've seen him for years. Looking at the kind of the adaptation of it, pretty good.
Yeah, there is a really good one of those dudes in the mask.
Yeah.
There's like a side quest in one of the games where one of them, so they're like homicidal maniacs, right? In one of them, one is a suicidal maniac, and he just like chases you around until you kill him. And you know, it's like a commentary on whatever, but it's video game. Yeah, rated mature.
You think maybe that's also like why are we making a movie and we're stripping everything that the video game says out of it? It's a real like if they just like stripped all of Last of Us and said it's just a zombie.
It's like if they did Uncharted and they cast Mark Wahlberg, you know?
Exactly. They should never do that.
The only difference is Tom Holland kind of a box office star. So depending certain stuff.
You think Zendaya should be in the next Uncharted? Babe, can you please be in my movie?
Oh, she would 100%. She could play one of the characters for sure.
Uncharted. It'd be good. My Tom Holland went to Australian very quickly.
You did, but I was just gonna ignore it. Let's move on to old news, but we haven't talked about it yet. Robert Downey Jr. being cast as Victor Von Doom for the Avengers Doomsday and I assume Secret Wars. Everyone has already said the obvious. So we're going to say the not obvious.
Is there anything left to say?
Well, a lot of people have not talked about the Sympathizer, which which Robert Downey Jr. plays multiple characters in. Wears a lot of prosthetics, has different voices, different mannerisms. But also, people forget that this man nearly won an Oscar by transforming himself into Charlie Chaplin. Yeah. Like, if you watch Chaplin from like 92 or whatever, he is Chaplin.
Fantastic.
You do not recognize him as Robert Downey Jr. I mean, nowadays you might because he's so iconic as Iron Man. But back then, he didn't really have any roles.
With Deadpool and Wolverine, it was done as like a parody and a joke a little bit. But I am getting a little burnt on like, because it's not done well, that it's like, hey, they're a variant of another thing. Or hey, there's a this and it's the same person but different. No, he's Von Doom and over here. And I'm like, I don't need that.
We don't need that, no.
Or if you're going to do it, you got to really nail it. Yes. And hopefully the Russo brothers can do it. It's a real sad moment for I know people are excited, but it's a real like, hey, kind of a knock down the ladder of like, okay, you tried your other things. You can come back to Marvel now. And it's like, I'm sure it'll work out for everyone. I'm sure they're getting paid a lot of money. So I'm not sad for them. Yeah. But it is a little like discouraging that you're like, a Cherry and the Gray Man, not good. So I
will fight a little bit for the Gray Man in that I think it was one step away from being good. There were certain scenes that could have been cut for sure. It was definitely too long, but Ryan Gosling is doing work in it, and Chris Evans doing work in it.
Do you think the Goose is going to be in the MCU soon?
Oh, if they don't cast him as Ghost Rider. He wants it. He wants it so bad. Just give it to him.
Well, I feel like he's a little stinker. Where they'd be like, Ryan, okay, we're gonna do it. Here's Ghost Rider. He's like, no, I'm okay.
I'm good. No, I think he's in his dad mode. Yeah. He's choosing the roles that he thinks his kids will like him doing.
He should have been Von Doom.
I don't think he's a Victor Von Doom type. The MCU is really only great at elevating B-level or C-level stars, comic book heroes, into A-list. Yeah. So the question is, can they take an A-list and keep him up there? Because Spider-Man is like...
That's easy.
It's easy.
That's so easy.
Doom is like different because he wins most of the time. Yeah. He will usually lose from his own mistakes, basically. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. That's all we can say.
It's insane that it's like 2 years from now.
I know.
It does not seem real.
I don't know how they're going to do it.
I don't know how they do it.
Where's Doctor Strange? Where's Shang-Chi?
That's a great question.
But let's get to our main topic.
Yeah.
I mean, technically they're all our main topic.
Yeah.
But on the internet, IndieWire recently released the top 100 movies of the 2000s.
Yeah.
And it's not really making any waves, really.
No.
But I've seen a lot of quote tweets because the number one movie, spoiler alert, if you've not read the list, most people probably can't make it there. It's a very long article.
And it's a bad article because instead of just like continuously going, you have to go to different pages.
Yeah.
IndieWire, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Just give me the list, actually. I don't need to see a picture and a write-up.
I don't need write-ups anymore. Just give me the list.
Give me the list. No explanations.
But anyways, number one is AI, artificial intelligence. They make a really compelling point in the article. But a lot of people will say, is it number one of the 2000s? We didn't pick it as our number one of the 2000s.
Guess what? It is on one of our lists.
It is on one of our lists. So
I think we here recognize the greatness of AI.
We can hear an argument for why it should be in the top 10.
Oh,
now,
I'm into it.
Yeah. But now, number one, I don't know.
I'll tell you what, is a little shocking that the number one happens because AI comes out about 2001, right? Yeah, so it's like 2001, 2002. I think it's 2001, yeah. Where you're like, like the greatest movie of the 2000s came out a year into the 2000s. I don't know if it'll ever have the reclamation that it truly deserves. Mm-hmm. I think, yes, online people are like, yes, AI is great. We were fools. But I just don't think it's ever going to rise to the level of like, wow, this is like amazing, which it should be. I love AI. I think it's
it also has the issue of trying to compete so it's Spielberg, Kubrick.
Yeah.
And the intention was always for it to be billed as Spielberg and Kubrick teaming together. Kubrick wanted to make this movie for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then obviously he passed away and Spielberg made it. So to live up to the hype of Spielberg, Kubrick, you really got to nail it.
Yeah.
And I think, marketing is one thing. It's a hard movie to market because it's essentially three acts that are wholly different from each other.
Yeah.
So, but also it's hinges upon Haley Joel Osment to nail it, and he had just nailed Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
So it's like you're putting so much pressure on a kid, and then he ended up not really wanting to do anything serious after like Secondhand Lions. He was like, you know what? Put me in comedy.
Secondhand Lions not a serious movie.
No,
man, how do you kind of take a Fire and Ice and you like the warmth and sentimentality and the cold and make it a hit movie, a movie to live up to both names. But and Spielberg, I mean, like this is like DreamWorks time. This is post.
He's putting out bangers at this time.
And people are excited to see what he does. So it is always just, it just seems so, what a goofy idea, but just so intriguing, and we'll never get, and maybe that's part of the appeal. It's like, we'll never really know. Mm-hmm. And so I'm happy with what we got.
Yeah. My argument is that I think people that are online arguing that it's not number one, probably need to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
Because I think people watched it when they were younger and they had seen like Clockwork Orange and Full Metal Jacket and think that Kubrick is in The Shining and think he's this kind of director.
Yeah.
When in reality, he always intended it. He probably didn't want it as schmaltzy as Spielberg goes for, but Kubrick always intended it to be that type of movie.
Yeah.
So it's like, he may have disagreed if he was alive. He may have disagreed with how Spielberg was going with it. Yeah. But at the same time, that was his intention. Maybe we were the few people that liked it back then.
I had a poster on my wall.
You did? Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Like 10-year-old JD has an AI poster on his wall. Sick.
Interesting. Yeah. Let us know what you think about AI in the comments. Not AI that's happening now. We don't want anything to do about ChatGPT. We want to know what you think about Jude Law as a prostitute robot.
Yeah. And like the guy who's just being carried around by it. Yeah.
The game show is back. The micro game show. This month we're calling it Toni Tony, where JD has to guess the quote and who it came from. Today, the three Tonys are Tony Stark,
Okay.
Tony Braxton,
Sick.
And the late, great Hannibal Lecter, played by Tony Hopkins.
Tony Hopkins. Oh, Tony. Uncle Tony.
All right. Cue the music if I haven't already. Here's the quote. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okie dokie. Here we go.
Okie dokie, here we go.
Okie dokie.
Here we go. Deceiving because I thought you were still revving up to the quote.
All right, let me say it one more time. Okie dokie. Here we go.
I think. Now, question.
Yeah.
Is this any Tony Hopkins? Or is this Tony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter?
It is Tony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. It cannot be Tony Hopkins in any other role.
But it will span the two.
Yeah.
Hannibal.
But it also could be Tony Braxton. Could also be Tony Stark. I'm
going to go Tony Hopkins, not in Silence of the Lambs, but in Hannibal.
Ding, ding, ding. You're correct. Yes. I tried to pick one that could be like, maybe Tony Braxton in a song started it off. Yeah. Okie dokie, here we go.
Yeah, and I was like, it could be. I do not think it's Tony Stark. And I'm like, it does not sound like Hannibal Lecter.
No. But he says it a lot in Hannibal.
Yes. Well, I'm like, it doesn't sound like Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs. Is it crazy that Ridley Scott directed that movie?
It is not crazy.
It's crazy.
It feels like a Ridley Scott movie.
Need to do can we do a big Ridley Scott video soon? Because I'm losing faith. I'm losing steam in Ridley. And maybe I just need a reminder. But then I think about that he did make Hannibal and I'm like, no, yeah. I think I'm on point.
I think the perfect way to describe Ridley Scott is he can make great movies, but he chooses to make whatever he wants.
Yeah.